Is there anything specific to Eretz Yisrael that people find it hard to accept certain treatments? I'll give you just an example. I think this is really an assumption. I'm going to make it anyway, okay? But I think that people on the more Kitzuni end of the spectrum might refuse things like vaccines in general, or other sorts of, I think, like basic treatment where medical knowledge is pretty up to date and there's a consensus about what people should and should not be doing.
And it's really painful when you see the child who has polio because his parents didn't vaccinate.
So can you talk about that a little bit, especially for our listeners? Like what are some just basic things that we're just really just ignoring?
So I never saw polio in America. Everybody was vaccinated for polio. We're in the middle of a major measles epidemic in this country because
is it major measles? It's major.
Major. Children have died. We have people
here in Yerushalayim.
Yeah. One just recently, a baby just died recently this week. It's hard. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because the child doesn't make the decision. It's the parents that are making the decision for the child, obviously. And their decision, however they came to that decision, was not to vaccinate the child. And as a result, the child is sick with whatever they may be sick with. I never saw polio in America. Until I came to Israel, I saw polio. There are just things that we see, not on a daily basis, but much more than you would see in other Western countries. Because people, and again, it's not always even related to Frumkeit. It's frequently just bad decision-making process or different misconceptions or different taboos within their
Why is that prevalent? I'm trying to figure out why is that prevalent here?
There was a study that was published in the early 70s, I want to say, maybe even in the 60s, where the bottom line conclusion of the article was that certain vaccines can cause children to be autistic.
Right.
And that study has been disproven. And in fact, the author of the study later admitted to just making it up.
Yeah.
He just made it up. But that study is still quoted on a regular basis by parents who do not want to vaccinate their children. And yes.
Do you get it? Why?
No.
Like I find that confusing. I never understood that.
I don't understand it. I find myself frequently having to step out of the room and take a couple deep breaths, close my eyes a couple times before I can continue on the conversation or the exam. Because it's so frustrating that these taboos, which are not based on any science, continue because of word of mouth and because of false ideas. I also don't understand it, but I can tell you there are frequently young Western people in this country, people who either were born in the Western world, Anglo world, or grew up in an Anglo family, and they still don't get it.
Okay, give me some common ones where people are just not getting it. So we have vaccines. What else are people just stubbornly and arrogantly dismissing?
Vaccines is the biggie. There's, I don't know, that's the one that comes to mind right now. I'm not thinking of anything else.
What's the way to combat that from the like how do we?
It's education. And it can't necessarily even come from the medical people. It needs to come in the from world, from the Rabbanim, in the different cultures. It needs to come from the leaders of those cultures. I'm not going to try and identify one specific culture, but it needs to come from the leaders within those cultures. They need to understand that most of the time it's the kids that pay the price, the babies that pay the price for the misinformation and the misideas that they have.
Yeah, the issue is that I think it's dogmatic, meaning as a teenager, I thought it was interesting to watch these debates between, Israel versus Palestine and, these really like hot button topics, but they're really just a waste of time, in my humble opinion, because it's the same conversation over again and neither side is going to agree with each other most of the time.
Not only that, but your chances of convincing the other person
are zero.
Are small.
Exactly.
Are small. But it's a little bit different on the universities now in America because there's so many people that are demonstrating against us and have so many misconceptions, and they really don't understand what's going on. So there is, at some level, the ability to change a few people's minds out there just based on education.
I'm not saying there's no value to it, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't address that sort of debate. If someone has a halachic discussion and they sit down with me on the table, okay, and I'm going to have a halachic discussion with them, I disagree with their point, I'm very comfortable in spending an hour bashing them to the best I can, and then me, not because I'm not coming from a place of you're wrong because I'm right. It's like you have an opinion, I have an opinion, I think my opinion is correct, I'm going to try to convince you, but if you convince me otherwise, I'll hop to your side. Like, it's a very honest conversation.